All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the brothers at Great Millstone for teaching and ruling well. I just wanted to go into Ezekiel 16, all right, talking about a wife that committeth adultery, all right, also known as wedlock, okay? There's a lot of misconception of the word wedlock, thinking that, having sex before marriage is wedlock, which just by the simple word breaking down, all right, makes no sense. All right, wed, obviously a wedding, and lock means locked in, right? So if you break wedlock is when you break something that you're locked into. You see, you can't break something if you've never been in it, And it even goes further than that, all right? It's not about putting a ring on it. You see? Women get so caught up into the ways of the world, they're thinking that a wedding represents a ring and represents, the white dress. That's not what a wedding is, And plus, by the traditions of men, the women wears white dresses when they're virgins. Okay? The women wear white dresses when they're virgins. So they shouldn't even be married. Okay, but in this wicked generation that we're in, there's really no women out there that are, those pure women, that are reserved unto marriage. And marriage is by the cutting into the women, So it's by the intercourse. Okay? That's another thing. People get misconstrued with what a wedding and what a marriage is, So this is Ezekiel 16 and 32. All right, going into wedlock, it says, "But as a wife that committeth adultery, okay, which taketh strangers instead of her husband." That's what wedlock means. Breaking wedlock is when a woman, okay, goes with other men even though she's a wife, or when a man goes into a woman that is a wife. That's adultery. That's committing wedlock. You laying down with a woman, all right, in the act of sex is not wedlock. Okay? Unless that woman was taken. Unless that woman was taken, then it's not wedlock. Women get in their feelings because a man can have multiple women. It's not advised to do. Okay? It's not advised to do just because of the times that we're living in. Okay? And we know the importance of the scriptures and Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and the prophecies and the things that are to come. Okay? So it's not advised to, go out there and have multiple women. Because we have an important duty to do. An important message to deliver. Okay? So wedlock that's broken, all right, when you break wedlock is when you're breaking a marriage. What they would call a home wrecker. Okay? So it says, "which taketh strangers instead of her husband." That's it right there. That's really it. The wife that committeth adultery, which taketh strangers instead of her husband. And we've broken wedlock with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But there's also another part in Ezekiel where the Most High says, ask the men of Israel if they would take their wives back after she committed adultery. And the answer is obviously no. All right? If your woman's out there hoeing around and coming back to you, all right, to give you back her sloppy, seconds, you're not going to receive her with care and with love. You're going to treat her what she is, a harlot. So that's why the Most High asked that. And in his, the way that he put it, spiritually speaking about Israel, all right, he's going to accept Israel back, and he's not going to treat us like a harlot, okay? But instead, he's going to forget everything that ever happened, okay? And he's going to give us a kingdom. Now, that sounds like a great deal, Because one, we definitely don't deserve it, all right? In our day-to-days, shit we say or or things we see, or, whatever the case is, we're wicked all the way around, man. But the important thing about the elect is that they found grace. All right. Through their faith they had in Yahweh, through their faith they had in Yahweh Shai, they found that grace. So we're turning back from our ways and we're becoming virgins. You see, in the book of Revelations, when it talks about these are men that did not lay down with women, for they were virgins. It doesn't mean that, men that never had intercourse with women in their lives, and, they're little geeks or nerds, wearing their glasses in their mother's basement with a tower of pizzas, with a bunch of pimples everywhere. That's not what that's talking about. Okay? It's talking about men, okay, that didn't shy away from Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, like it says in the book of the book of Sirach, where it says that they stood for the name, or the book of Ezra, where it says they stood for the name of the Lord. They stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Those are the virgins, because we didn't go away from our power. We didn't go away from our Savior. We didn't go a-whoring after other gods. We stayed true to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, which made us virgins. Okay? So it says, Ezekiel 16:33, they give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and hirest them, that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom. You see? So a wife, all right, that committeth adultery is breaking wedlock. And again, we broke wedlock with Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai spiritually. Okay? And now we're coming back to our power, But going into the literal meaning of wedlock, it's simply just that. It says, on the contrary is in thee from other women and thy whoredoms, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms, and thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee, therefore thou art contrary. All right, I was just going into the spiritual part of it. All right, but the literal is the very first verse. This is Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach 23 and verse 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not the eyes of Yahweh are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. He knew all things, or ever they were created, so also after they were perfected he looked upon them all. This man shall be punished in the streets in the city, and where suspecteth not he hath taken shall be taken. Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bringeth in an heir by another. For first she hath disobeyed the law of the Most High, and secondly she hath trespassed against her own husband, and thirdly she has played the whore in adultery, and brought children by another man. She shall be brought into the congregation, and inquisition shall be made of her children. Her children shall not take root, her branches shall bring forth no fruit. Okay, so spiritual aspect. Okay, those that those that don't have the truth, they're not going to bring forth, all right, a true vine. But those that bring forth the truth, all right, like the elders at Great Millstone, the brothers at Great Millstone, all right, the apostles, they bring forth good fruit. That's meat for repentance. But going back to what wedlock means, all right, it talks about a woman going outside of the marriage, all right, and sleeping around with other men, and especially if they bring forth children with those other men outside of what was her husband. You see, it doesn't go into the husband that goes into another woman. It doesn't go into any of that. Okay, it literally just goes into the woman that betrays her husband, okay, is a harlot, an adulterer, and that's what wedlock is. So let's go into the word wedlock. Ezekiel 16:38. And I will judge thee as women that break wedlock and shed blood are judged, and I will give thee blood in fury and jealousy. Did it say men? Did it talk about anybody else? Okay. It specifically speaks about women, breaking wedlock. So it doesn't mean a woman that lays down with a man. It's specifically saying a woman that commits adultery. Okay? Unfaithfulness, you see, whether spiritually or physically. Unfaithfulness is a woman that's married that goes with another man. Unfaithfulness, okay, is a man that goes into a woman that is married. You see, because you're not being faithful to your brother as you should be. Really only applies to Israel. We know these other nations are all messed up in the head, and that's why the world is the way it is. Okay? But that's also unfaithfulness. Spiritually, all right, the nation of Israel was unfaithful to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, so we committed adultery. Okay? Makes sense? So it says usually of a man, but always with a wife of another. So it's always about the woman. All right, when you commit adultery, it's of women. You see? So wedlock, okay, Strong's H 5003, and it says na'ap, which means to commit adultery. Okay? So to commit adultery does not mean to lay down with a woman before you guys get married. Okay? That's actually marriage. According to Genesis, was it 24 and 67, it says, and Isaac brought her, which is Rebekah, which was a virgin, into his mother Sarah's tent, which is like a room, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. Now, when you take somebody, all right, let's look at that word take. Took, lapa, which is to take, fetch, lay hold of, to seize. When you seize something, you don't ask for permission. Okay? You don't toss a coin, you grab, you capture. You see? Take hold of suddenly and forcibly, which means he did what? The R word, right? To Rebekah, and she let him. All right? It says, and she became his wife. That's how you become married. When a man takes hold of you and takes you, or when you just lay down with a man, talking about women. So when a woman lays down with a man, that's when she becomes your wife. It's not when you put a ring on it. It's not when she's dressed in white and you're dressed in a monkey suit, okay, waiting for a wicked ass Edomite looking like Elvis telling you that you're married. It's whenever you lay down with that woman. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death, because a woman was created for what? For a helpmeet. Okay? She's supposed to be a pillar of rest. Like there's that joke, when they say, be his patience, not Hispanic. Talking about a Latino and his woman. Be his patience and not Hispanic. Because that's what women are, the panic of men. It even tells you that in the book of Proverbs that for women, men have gone the wrong way. Men have sinned for women. You see? So I hope that was edifying. And with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Shalom.